Okay, here's a video for my video settings for the XH1. Obviously, you turn the camera to video mode, and then your settings pop up on the screen on the back that you have it set at. As you can see, I shoot in full HD, which is 1080, 1920 by 1080. I only shoot in that. I never shoot in 4K. I'm just shooting for YouTube and for Facebook, so I don't think you really need 4K. Most people don't have 4K monitors, so it doesn't really matter. Most people are watching video on their phone, so you're never going to get the advantage of 4K, basically, if you're doing what I'm doing anyway. So you can see the rest of the settings that I currently have the camera on. I try to keep the shutter speed as low as possible. And I'm not entirely sure why yet. Low shutter speed seems to get more natural looking frames. I guess that's what I would say. So anyway, so here we go. There you can see full HD. I have it set at the higher bit rate, 59 p. I think that gives you, and 50 megabits per second. I think that gives you better quality video in full HD over 29, and HD high recording speed off, standard film simulation, 100 dynamic range, white balance to auto. I do try to bring up the shadows just a little bit because I want to have a little more detail in the shadow. Movie color, I don't adjust that. Sharpness, no. F-log, no. I don't really do much in the way of grading, maybe a tiny bit. Peripheral light correction, I have that on, but I don't know that strictly speaking it's necessary. Movie focus area is movie. Custom AF settings, I pretty much didn't fiddle with that too much. Seems to be fine. I do use peaking. I do mostly manually focus with video. I find the Fuji video on continuous tends to hunt a lot. If your subject is not moving, like if you're doing an interview, the focus will jump in and out, in and out, in and out, even if someone isn't moving, because the focus is constantly trying to adjust. So I use I'll use single point, or I'll use single autofocus. That'll autofocus at the beginning of the interview and just make sure they're in focus with the peaking, and then hit the expose button, and then off we go. Don't do anything with focus check. The rest of this you can see right there. I don't do anything with that. Audio setting is important. If you're using the internal mic, you can just put this on auto. I have it at 9 dB, minus 9 dB, just to make sure that things don't get too clippy, don't get too trashy. If it's a loud setting, especially an interview with a sports setting, where there might be something loud going on behind them, it's kind of hard to bring sound down if it's way over and crackly and clipping. So I have adjusted that down to 9 dB. I may do a little more with it on a different setting. I have used shotgun mics. I have a Rode, and I just got a Deity that I haven't tried yet. Little cheapo shotgun mics that go on my hot shoe. For those, I changed the audio to manual, because then you want the internal mic to turn off and you want the camera to power the microphone. And I don't do any of the rest of this with the settings. I really don't tend to use earphones with the XH1, just because I haven't. The jack for, as you probably know, the earphones is under here. It's part of the grip. There, you can see it right there. It's not exactly the best placement for it, but what the hell are you gonna do? There's the mic plug right there. It's a standard 3.5 millimeter, thank God. So your average kind of microphone or plug from typical plugs will fit in there. 3.5 millimeter is what you look for. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I usually have the camera set on manual or on single, and then I'll hit the focus button on the back. That's what I use to focus just once to make sure that the subject is in focus, and then I start shooting. If it's a static person, if it is something that's moving, I will turn it on, and I will. Oh, look at that! I'm doing video. Oop, whoops. I will leave it on continuous, like if I'm doing sports or something that's moving in general. I will leave it on continuous, and the tracking is really good. Yeah, so there we go. And as you can see, I have the tallies on the top, and all the settings are on the top. It's a really beautiful video camera. I did a lot of video during the Little League World Series with this. And it all came out just fine. I've been really happy with it. Yeah, so that's the video settings that I use. I do tend to keep the ISO on the low side, and the shutter speed on the low side. You're gonna have to play with that to your liking. It's a lot of trial and error. But like I said, these are the settings I use, and I hope this was helpful.